for her clear introduction to this essay, and I join the noble ladies Baroness Redfern and Coffey in expressing disappointment about the slow pace in which this is being brought in. Of course, Wales is ahead of us, but also join them in welcoming what is a very, very modest step forward, I'm afraid. And it is worth noting that, as the noble lady Baroness Coffey said, this was what the previous government was planning to do anyway. It's disappointing that this new government is not going any further. We had a government came in promising change, promising environmental measures. We might have expected to be going further than this statutory instruments are going now. And I think we have to think about where we are now. We're all aware of the island that appeared on Google Earth that was a result significantly of wet wipes. Now, I've seen different figures, but certainly at least 2/3, maybe more, of the wet wipes being sold now do not contain plastic. This is not going to solve the sewage problem. This is terribly clear. And what does that sewage problem actually mean? It's not just things that happen in London that get lots of coverage. In September, the BBC reported about how Northumbria Water was finding areas under their coverage severely affected by sewer flooding. Effluent was being pushed back up through sinks, showers and toilets. And one of the staff members who was dealing with people affected spoke about how this really impacted on people's lives and well-being. Wet wipes are a serious problem, not just a financial problem, not just an environmental problem, but a problem in people's lives. Now, I think Baroness Redfern referred to the fact that terms like biodegradable and compostable are really used inappropriately by manufacturers. Words like, you see if you look at the packaging, 99% water, or plant-based, or there's a lovely symbol of two hands cradling the earth. These may not be illegal, but we have to ask the question, how do we get the packaging right so that people actually understand that they should absolutely never, ever, ever go in the toilet? And I note that here in your Lordship's house we indeed have, at least some of the facilities I've been in, have very clear labels saying this is a problem, please don't do it. And if the message isn't getting through in the Houses of Parliament, it's not surprising perhaps it's not getting through in the rest of the country. And there is, of course, a real concern that as this statutory instrument comes into effect and people hear, oh, it's all right, isn't it good they've banned plastic? People are going to feel more likely to feel like they are able to flush these items. Now, what do you actually need to biodegrade one of these products? Well, it works best in temperatures of about 30 degrees Celsius. We don't have a lot of sewers, I think I can safely say, at 30 degrees Celsius. And a 2023 paper by scientists from Cardiff University concluded that most flushed so-called biodegradable wipes do not really degrade. Most of them are made from cellulose fibres that are cotton or wood-based. And there's a further problem here in that when these are put into water, it changes the balance of nutrients, takes oxygen out of the water, and increases the risk of fish suffocating. These are a problem in so many different ways. Now, so I really want to ask the noble lady, the Minister, what further measures the government is considering, planning. I know there's a 3-year review under this SSI, but that's 3 years more of all of the kind of damage, all of the human and environmental suffering that I've been talking about. We know, for example, that there's the figures. I'm looking at a graph now, the expected sale of wet wipes from 2024 to 2032, and it's a quite steep upward curve. Is the government considering whether we really need all those wet wipes? Maybe parents have become used to having wet wipes and using them, when we can all feel sympathy with new parents and all the challenges they face. But what about makeup wet wipes or household cleaning wet wipes? Are these things we actually really need to be selling in the UK? And so is the government considering further action sooner than that 3-year time? the Noble Lady the Minister referred to the extended producer responsibility scheme. Surely we could include all wet wipes in that now. And a very specific question, I note that the impact assessment refers to plastic using the UK REACH definition, but the Marine Conservation Society has a specific question they raise, whether Lyocell and viscose are being recognised as a form of plastic under that definition, and the Marine Conservation Society says very clearly that they should be recognised as such. That's in fact how they behave. Now, I note that the Noble Lady the Minister in her introduction spent some time trying to justify us continuing to manufacture wet wipes containing plastic here, even though we're planning to ban them. I'm afraid that doesn't really satisfy me, and the Noble Lady recently answered a written question from me on similarly in terms of pesticides that we're manufacturing in the UK and which are illegal for use here, and we're still exporting them. Surely we should be worrying about plastic fibres and all the damage we're doing wherever they're put in the world, with the acknowledgement, of course, that some of them may well come back to us one way or another in the future. I note, for example, a recent interesting study that found that nanoplastics and microplastics were found in radishes grown in the ground. Think about our imported food. And I finally want to raise an issue and cross-reference my Consumer Products Control of Biocides Private Members Bill. Now, I know this is something that the Noble Lady, the Minister, is aware of the issue in terms of antimicrobial substances being included in consumer products, because she very kindly came to a round table I held on that issue when she was a shadow minister. And so is the government considering, thinking about, when I looked up wet wipes and antimicrobial antibiotic, an absolute slew of them appeared before me. Those are actively dangerous in terms of antimicrobial resistance. I also note an issue specifically with with quaternary ammonium compounds, which are known as QACs, QACs, or QATs, QATS. And they've been linked to serious health problems, linked to antimicrobial resistance, and there's evidence that they actually cause serious health hazards. So these are a problem product. This statutory instrument deals with a tiny fraction of the scale of the problem these products represent. So I really hope the Noble Lady, the Minister, might be able to tell me that the government is looking at taking far more expansive action than in this SI before us.